In our last chapter, we poured the post footings that would anchor the entire structure. In this one, we begin the dance of going vertical, raising all 38 round log posts that form the skeleton of our future home, the Cob Mahal. First, we'll get into the trees behind the timber frame. Our first logs came from a very special place, my mom's favorite red oak tree, which had fallen in a 2020 windstorm. We salvaged 14 logs from it and spent months debarking them by hand. Many of our other logs came as gifts from Robert Seifert of Robert's Tree Service here in Texarkana. He donated a wonderful mix: eastern red cedar, bald cypress, red oak, white oak, ash, hickory, black gum, piss elm, and pine. Each post a story, each beam a gesture of generosity. Before raising the posts, we had to remove all the bark to protect against insects and rot. The draw knife was our go-to, but some woods demanded chisels or even putty knives. Next, we leveled and notched the post bases to stand plumb and square on their footings.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year. It's January 11th, 2022, and we're back at it, finally. So, thought I'd tackle some logs today, figure out how to make the first cuts and get them plumb, and then figure out how to get them up on these post footings that we made. So here's what I've done so far. So you can see the end of the log here is definitely not level, but I have made a mark in pencil along it using this handy square. So I thought, okay, I'll use this measuring tape here going along the log, and I've kind of lined it up to the grain. You can see that crack going up. I'm assuming that crack and the grain is kind of going in straight lines. So I'm kind of aligning the square with that. Whoops, let me flip it around. Okay. So that gives me a rough idea of, the center of the log. So after doing that, put the square down and just basically roll it along the log, just kind of eyeballing it, making sure it's pretty close to level. And that's it. So then I got this line, straight line that I can use to cut with the chainsaw. Hey folks, so we got this end of the log pretty close to being prepped. We're gonna get a planer, shave off these little bumps here to make it as flat as possible. And then I measured from this end all the way, put the measuring tape here, all along the top of the log. And I measured the length we need for this particular log, which is 10 feet and 7 3/4 inches. So I went all the way over here and marked about a chainsaw's width line along here. So we're going to keep this knob here at the minus so it won't gouge very deeply into the log. And maybe later we might go up a little bit to the plus so that we'll have a deeper cut. But we'll start like this. This is my first time using this thing. All right. It's nice. Getting smoother and smoother. That's true. Huh, okay. So, if we do that,
I guess it's
still got a little bit of a ridge, maybe, right in the
but
very middle.
less than 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah. So look at that cut. That is beautiful. Purple heart is just shining through. Okay, ready? Making the first cut. Make sure it's lined up. Uh-oh. All right, so we got it cut. So we're gonna drill a hole at the bottom, cut the rebar to the right length, and then we will attempt to raise our first post. All right, well, we've got the log cut to the length we need, and I had a level, this level right here on this drill bit to make sure we were level. And so now I'm gonna go the final 2 inches into the log. Here we go. We are in. Success. All right.
On January 12th, 2022, the first post, a 10.5-foot cedar, rose into place. Getting that first post up was a process. We couldn't reach the inner circle footing with our tractor, so Nalini had a brilliant idea. Use the old electrical wire spool, left behind by Bowie Cass, our electrical co-op, as a manual crane. 5 of us ratchet-strapped, leveraged, and guided that first cedar upright. Post 2 followed the next day. Same method, another cedar.
All right, everybody. The day after we got our first post up, we now have 2 posts. 10.5 feet high. Well, actually more if you count those post footings there, which are like 2 feet. Yeah. Yep. And that's what we use. The wheel.
But we quickly realized the rest of the inner circle posts were just too heavy, so we pivoted. We shifted focus to the outer circle, starting with a lightweight cedar on January 19th. Over the next few days, with the help of friends and family, we installed post after post, tallying 9 total by January 21st.
Here we go. Top. and lower. It's up. Got it?
Almost there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright, scraping against the concrete. Hey everybody, it's January 21st. I just wanted to do a quick recap of our work today. We had Eric here helping. We had high hopes of getting some of these big logs put up in the inner circle, but it ended up being too much for us to do. We tried the wheel, it was too heavy, but we did get 2 more posts on the outer circle done. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 posts up total today.
As we built up the stone stem wall in the northeast quadrant, Nalini decided to give me a birthday present, laying the foundation wall of our future bedroom. February brought heavier logs, red oak, ash, and cypress. As we gained confidence, we kept lifting heavier and heavier logs. Some we lifted with the tractor, some by sheer will. Each log brought us closer to enclosing the sacred circle. On February 15th, we put up our first non-cedar post, a red oak log from my mom's favorite tree. Since oak is so much heavier than cedar, we used our tractor and straps to lift the post to the required height, then guided it down by hand to install the second of 4 posts for our north doorway.
Hey folks, it's February 18th, 2022, and we have got 2 new posts up today. Our north doorway is complete. The way it spills into the wall. Say hi, Nalini.
Some logs, like this red oak, aren't perfectly round in cross-section. They may be wider in some rotations than others, so we marked both the footing and the log to make the post line up exactly in the orientation we wanted. Here you can see the line marked A. That is going to line up with the line on the footing.
Hey folks, so we have hit a big milestone today. We have gotten 15 posts up. Ta-da! Alright, I'll switch it out of selfie mode and then we can, let me give credit where credit is due. David was a huge help in getting these logs prepped and been putting up the post. So there it is. Now we have stuff on every quadrant. All 4 quadrants of the house have at least one log.
By mid-March, we'd raised over 25 posts. Most of the outer circle was complete.
You're not gonna go viral.
Hey everybody. So I just wanted to demonstrate really quick about how we make sure the logs are plumbed, which means level in a vertical direction here. So what we do, if you look at the end of the log here, we cut it pretty nicely with the chainsaw, so it's pretty close to being what we want, but just to fine tune it, we divide it into quadrants basically. So we measure from top to bottom, and it looks like we got 11 1/4 as the diameter. So we divide that in 2, and that gives us 5 5/8 right here. And then we get our square, and we make another line perpendicular to that line. And where those 2 lines intersect is where we want to drill our hole that our rebar is going to go into on our footing. So one more thing, we need to know how to cut it here to make it plumb. So how do we do that? We get a chalk line, which I think we've already put away, but it's a piece of string that rolls up into a bunch of chalk, and you attach it at one end, where at the end of that line that we just drew, and attach it at the other end, and then snap it. And if you zoom in here, you can see this blue chalk line running all the way along the center of the log. So then again, go back and you get your square. Use the long end so you can be extra sure, and you line it up with the chalk line. So what that does, gives you a reference to work from here. So you can mark, okay, this is where we're gonna cut. Then you kind of have to finesse it here, make sure it's still lined up. Kind of rotate it a little bit. This is best done with 2 people. So I'm just gonna demonstrate this, I'm gonna mark it here. But you just kind of roll it, and if you see here, that's where you want to draw your line. So looks like we're gonna have to cut a lot more off the bottom here than on the top. So there you go, there's your lesson in how to plumb a log post. Bye everybody. So I just wanted to do a little thing about cutting rebar. We're cutting the rebar here for 8 inches height, and that's what's gonna stick into our log. The 8-inch hole that we drill at the bottom of the log, it'll slide onto there and end up looking like these beautiful posts on either side of me. So what we use to do that is a sawzall, or reciprocating saw. Pull it out here. This thing right here, I use a Ryobi 18-volt lithium battery, and this is the metal cutting blade. It's important to get the right kind of blade. So this is made for cutting metal. There are kinds that are made for cutting wood. You don't want to use those for rebar. So use the right kind of blade. This blade we just put on a few minutes ago, because our last one was so dull we couldn't get all the way through the rebar. So I've found we can probably get through 4 or 5 rebars maybe with one blade before it gets pretty dull. So let's see how this one does. So it's definitely a 2-man job. I would have one person holding the saw. I've already got it started here, and another person holding the top because it vibrates like crazy. So she's going to help hold it in place so it won't be too hard to cut. And yeah, here we go. So, one thing to point out before I start the noise. It's nice to rotate the saw as you're cutting. That does two things. One, it keeps it level. It helps it keep it level. And yeah, that's the main thing. I don't know. I can't think of a second thing.
It just prevents it getting pinched.
Yeah, that
for
too.
me when I'm holding it.
And like when I'm cutting, like if I'm cutting this way, she's going to be pulling this way as well. So that way the rebar kind of is bending this way. It makes it easier to cut instead of pinching if she was going this way. So all right, let's try it. Ready? Okay. We got it started beforehand, just to tell you. It's not usually that easy, but there you go.
We used our trusty Kubota tractor to do the outer circle posts, as we didn't want to rent an expensive SkyTrak telehandler for longer than one weekend. We reserved the SkyTrak for the posts and beams we knew we wouldn't be able to put up with our tractor. Where the footings were low enough, we used a single choke strap placed a little higher than the middle of the log's length to let the log hang from one of the tractor bucket's hooks. Sometimes though, when the log has a large diameter, we had to use 2 or more straps tied together. Then, we just lifted the log up, guided it by hand onto the rebar, and lowered it down. This was an easy method for the east side of the house, where the stem wall was only a couple of feet tall and the tractor bucket's maximum reach was around the height of the middle of the post length. You'll see that when we get to the west side of the house, where the wall was 4.5 feet tall, we had to come up with some more creative methods. I drove slowly with the Kubota, perhaps painfully so to some viewers, because, as you see, the log swings with the momentum of the tractor, and at this point, I was just getting used to doing this. Here, for this massive cypress log, with a whopping 18-inch diameter and roughly 400-pound weight, we doubled up our straps as they were starting to get a little beat up from use. We came up with our own sign language, a set of hand signals to use when the noisy tractor was running. Pointing upwards means raise the bucket. Pointing downwards means lower it. The hang loose shaka sign means tilt the bucket either upwards or downwards. A closed fist or open palm, depending on the mood of whoever was signaling, means stop. And pointing forward or backwards means come closer or back up. The tractor operator can't see through the bucket, so it helps to have multiple sets of eyes on the job, to watch the log, the surroundings, and the target. Ideally, it's best to have designated people for various tasks, such as a lookout person, a person responsible for placing the post on the footing, and a person to operate the tractor. Here, Nalini is clearing the area around the post so that nobody stumbles, and checking the inside and outside of the wall for potential tripping hazards. Here, we're trying to figure out if the post is rotated correctly. Once it is, we shim the bottom of the post to make it plumb.
Yeah.
This red oak, again from my mom's favorite tree, was tricky as it had a bend we wanted oriented to make an arch around our front door. We also had to work around a large rock that was already placed on our stem wall. Getting the tractor angled just right so that the bucket wouldn't hit the other nearby entryway post was key. We had the post hanging from the side of the bucket, with the bucket tilted halfway down to maximize clearance for the post. As added insurance, we clamped the strap onto the hook. It was a tight spot here. I used a cardboard pizza box placed against the butt of the post and traced its exact footprint. Then I cut out the cardboard and transferred the footprint of the post onto the footing with a marker so we could get the orientation exactly right. It was tight, but we were able to remove the safety clamp. Only then, very carefully, I was able to lower the bucket and take the strap off of the hook and back the tractor away from the post. As we moved west around the circle, the wall got higher and higher. We were forced to strap the posts lower and lower so we could raise them higher, which made it challenging to balance the weight. We needed more and more muscle to bring the posts upright. Luckily, David and Eric were up for the task. Alright everybody, we just got log number 2 placed in the living room. This morning we've done log number 6,
which is also a red oak, on the left-hand side of the front door, and then log number 2 right there. Looking beautiful.
On March 9th, our friend Robert Seifert from Robert's Tree Service loaded us up with another batch of logs, this time mostly pine with a few white oak and ash scattered in. Here again, we had the constraint of another entryway post to contend with. I had to redo my approach to the footing to avoid hitting the other post with the tractor bucket. This post, at the highest point of the stem wall, was the most challenging one so far. For one, it was massive. At this point, on the westmost part of the wall, there was only a narrow space between the wall and our small pond to drive the tractor. The maximum reach of the bucket was still not quite enough to lift the log above the 8-inch rebar. So, David had to use a lot of muscle, skill, and patience to get the rebar into the hole. I'm sorry we don't have footage of this because we needed all hands on deck for this one. This post, back to our east doorway, was ash, the same wood baseball bats are made from. It wasn't a big diameter, but it was definitely heavy, especially because it was recently harvested and green, not dry. It probably weighed around 250-ish pounds. Because it was a curved doorway post, and because it was a tight fit between the stem wall rocks and the footing, this was another tricky one to place. Logs are not perfect plumb cylinders. They curve and bulge, and rocks are the same way. Even with all our measurements, it was a challenge to visualize the entire three-dimensional space we had to work with.
That's why when the wood was trying to go in, it didn't want to go in because the rock was so
Hey folks, it's Friday, March 18th, and we have got one more post up. Right now we have 2 more posts to go for the entire outer circle. Here's the one we just did. This is a pine. Forget the number. Do you remember the number? I'll look it up. One of the latest batch we got from Robert Seifert. We shimmed around the bottom here. Standing pretty straight. This is log 51 that we're putting up. Hey everybody, we got our next to last log for the outer circle up. There's only one more to go. There it is. Hi everybody. So you see there's only 2 inner circle posts up so far out of the 10 that we're eventually going to put in there. So I just wanted to reassure everybody I do have a plan. There are logs that are destined for these spots. So let me show you what I have in mind. We got 2 up here, and then the 2 lying right there on the ground, number 27 and 28, are gonna go right here and right there. So that'll be the western half of the house. And then 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, are coming up. Let me show you those. Our task for this week is to prep all of those logs, which means if they have bark on them, we need to debark them. Then we need to make sure that the bottom is completely level, so the log is plumb. Then we need to drill the hole at the bottom for the rebar to go into. And finally, we need to cut it to the exact length that we need it to be. And you see, 27 and 28 are circled because they are prepped in that way completely, all the way to getting sprayed with boric acid. So the only thing left for those 2 is a coat of linseed oil. And we can do that now. We don't have any linseed oil right now, we're out. Or we could put them up first and then use ladders to paint them once they're up. And then 85, 69, 70, and 71 are what's left. So I'll show you what I did today on 85 and 71. I worked a little on 69, 72. Just taking a little more bark off of them. They were almost completely debarked, but there's tiny remnants. All right, so the one sitting here on these metal sawhorses is number 71. That's destined to be our southeast inner circle post. It's piss elm, so it's gonna be right next to the master bathroom. So we've got that pretty much debarked, and I cut off the end to make it flat. I'll have to touch this up a little bit with the planer, but looks pretty good. So that one's almost ready to go. We can drill a hole and then cut it to length. Next one up, 85. David debarked this one pretty much completely. There's a few shreds of the inner bark still on here, so we'll do a little fine tuning, but this is almost ready to go. Next step, we just need to cut the bottom. On this log, it's hard to tell which is the bottom, but I think the bottom is actually this end right here. Yeah. So that looks pretty good. I'll have to check with my square, but that might be ready to go. No, I think I need to cut it a little more now that I see it from this angle. But anyway, yeah, we'll cut that. This is almost the exact length we need it to be, so we can't cut too much. And then we'll drill a hole on the bottom of here. Then we got 2 more for our 8 main inner circle posts. The ones that are going to be supporting the loft, I think we are going to use the big cypress, those 2 right there for those. So that's going to look pretty awesome. So yeah, we got 69 and 70. As you can see, they're mostly debarked. I took a little bark off of the end of 70 here. I think these are both hickories. So there we have it. That's all of the inner circle posts. And then right here, number 35, it's giant bald cypress. That'll be a big job cutting this plum. That's gonna be beautiful. The way it flares like that. And yeah, 36 too. They won't be high, but that's okay. They'll be a very solid base for our loft. So all right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in again. And yeah, we're starting to be an exciting phase, raising the roof. Bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. It's been another good day of log prep. Here we have log number 85, which is going to be one of the inner circled posts. And I've been experimenting with using the planer to debark it, and it's working really well. So I think I'm going to finish up tomorrow doing that. That's awesome. So that's one inner circle post. Here's another one, 71. We've got this one prepped completely. May want to do a little additional debarking, maybe with the planer if that works really well. We'll see. But that one's almost good to go. And then moving on, we've got, I believe this is 70, which David used the angle grinder with the sander attachment on it, and it's looking really, really nice. We still need to cut this end off right here. And then finally, log 69. We haven't cut it to length or fully debarked it yet, so we'll do that and then drill the hole too. And then we've got our inner circle posts. So it's just a matter of days before we can start putting these up. All right, talk to y'all later. Hey everybody, just wanted to show you the progress we're making on these posts. So this one here, it's number 71. It's a piss elm, or Ulmus pumila, Siberian elm. It's an exotic, I believe. Could be IDing it wrong, but that's what I think. So that's what this looks like when it's completely debarked. It's pretty beautiful. It's got some pink and red and yellow. Nice colors. Here's what it looks like before it's debarked. It's probably from the same tree, number 78 here. So we have that to look forward to. Beautiful look there. So we're getting most of our posts ready. There's 85. All we have to do there is drill the hole. 71's got the hole drilled. It's good to go. It's completely ready to go. Ready to put up. And then 70 here, we just need to cut the top off. And 69, I started debarking, but I don't think I'm gonna do much more today. But there we go. Little by little, we're getting there. All right, bye everybody. All right, y'all, slowly but surely, we're getting these posts linseed oiled. See this one right in front of us. This bottom half is oiled up. Top half we're not done with yet. I'll get to that when I have more energy. This one's done. This one's half done. Now this big cypress, isn't that a beauty? Look at that color. That oiled part, it's like so deep mahogany red. And then it's just gray at the top. So look at how that color comes out with that oil. This pine even looks really beautiful. Of course, our oak and our ash looking great. Another pine halfway done. This oak is done completely. The cedar is done completely. And this pine I finished today. It is done. These oaks are done. The cedar is halfway done here. Did the bottom half today. Look at that. Haven't done this one yet. Working on this cedar. Working on this cedar, not done. Haven't started on this pine. And haven't started on the cedar. And I think that's a pine, this pine. And David took one of these, that little itsy bitsy cedar down. We're gonna replace it with something bigger. So these two vacant footings here will be filled with those two logs on the ground right there, which have been boric acid treated but not linseed oiled yet. This oak we did surgery on is linseed oiled. The cedar has not been touched with oil yet. All of the trees, all the logs in the that are put up have already been boric acid treated. This oak has been linseed oiled. I think I'm gonna go get the sander and sand off all of that fungus that's growing on it, and then I'll do another coat of linseed oil. The cedar bottom half has been oiled. And then finally, these two oaks in the doorway have been oiled and are ready. So that's it. Oh, in the inner circle, these two posts, we started at the bottom, but we haven't done much. So that's our progress for today, looking good. Oh, and logs, did a lot of log prep too. Mom sprayed with boric acid. All of these logs over here, except for number 69. I'm still working on debarking it. But that's the only one left to go for boric acid. All the rest have been sprayed and are looking good. I might just finish 69 here today, get all the bark off of it. We're really close. Then here we go, here's 70. It's debarked and treated with boric acid. Ready to go, we just need to drill a hole in the butt. Number 71 is completely debarked and treated with boric acid. Hole is drilled, it is ready to put up. 81, this should be a beam. We'll finish debarking that next phase after we do all the posts. 85 is debarked, treated with boric acid, and we just need to drill the hole. Did we not drill the hole already? Yeah, I haven't drilled the hole yet. Yeah, so drill the hole on 85 and on 70. They are ready. And then all we have left as far as inner circle posts is number 69 here. So we're closing in. I'll check in with y'all soon. Okay, I just couldn't rest until I finished, so log 69 is now completely debarked. So that means all of the inner circle logs are debarked. So that's good. 71's ready to put up. 85 needs a hole drilled in it. 70 needs a hole drilled in it. And 69 just needs the ends cut and a hole drilled in it. And boric acid. All right, that's enough for today. Now I'm gonna relax.
here, for the final 2 outer circle posts on the west doorway, the wall was so high that we used a different method. Instead of letting the log hang from a strap, we used forks and ratchet straps to tightly strap the log to the face of the bucket. That way, we were able to start with the bottom of the post much higher than if we had let it hang. Because of the lack of room for maneuverability and the slope I was on, it was tricky getting the log into place. Again, David's muscle power saved the day. He was able to deftly unstrap the log once it was sitting on the rebar and wrestle it upright. With that final move, all of the outer circle posts were up. Victory! We have gotten the final 2 outer circle posts put up. Congratulations to all of us. Thank you, David. Now we can pan 360 degrees around the house. There are no gaps. Beautiful. And like that. That will not be too hard to fix. So there we go, our cypress loft post. Nice work with the chainsaw. Had to break out the big gun, gas powered. And now we can maybe use that as like a tabletop or something. Sweet. Oh, and I almost forgot, we drilled the holes for our loft posts. So there we go. This one's 9.5 inches deep. And we got the other one over here, 10 inches deep. So once they're sitting on that rebar, they ain't going anywhere. In September, we returned to the inner circle. The logs were finally debarked. By November, we brought in the big guns. We rented a SkyTrak, a telehandler from Dots Rentals here in Texarkana, to lift the heavy center loft posts skyward. One by one, those massive inner posts found their place. Each one a pillar of patience, faith, and teamwork.
Okay, I'm gonna drive uphill a little bit.
Hand gestures work great over short distances, but while using the SkyTrak, which had a 42-foot boom, we needed a better communication method. Luckily, I'd recently unearthed my childhood My First Sony walkie-talkie headsets, circa 1987, and those 35-year-old red plastic headsets saved the day. We felt like kids, finally getting to play with grown-up toys. The telehandler operator and the person guiding the posts onto the half-inch rebar could hear each other without even raising their voices. That precise communication was essential to smoothly and safely get 500-plus pound logs onto a half-inch target. As kids, we all played with trucks and pretended it was real, building imaginary marvels. I never envisioned being behind the wheel of a real-deal 6,600-pound capacity machine, putting up the posts for our house. After all the months of muscling the smaller posts into place, the larger posts were more of a test of my mental dexterity.
You think?
Stop.
3 to close.
Down. Down. You're on it.
You're on it.
Barely.
Okay, try to go down.
More.
Yeah, it's going in. It's in.
Drop the boom. Okay, we're on it.
Hey everybody, it's Friday, November 18th, and it is SkyTrak Day! Say hi. Melanie is cleaning up all these shredded tarp pieces that we have left behind after we moved the tarps. It's looking good, but here's the big reveal. Our giant cypress post is finally up, along with this west post here. So 2 posts up with the SkyTrak so far. We got the other giant cypress getting readied. David is strapping it. Eric is running the SkyTrak, telehandler, great all, whatever you call it. So we're gonna put that baby up on that giant 3-foot footing right here. So everything's going fast, everything is going safely and according to plan. This has been perfect so far. So it's a little tight, the angle we're in now. I'm trying to get this one in, but we'll see how it'll work. Wish us luck. See you on the next one. Yep, lined up. Lower it down maybe a little. Okay.
Although the SkyTrak's boom would extend a total of 42 feet, its horizontal reach beyond the front wheels was only 29 feet.
So that's as far as it goes?
For this post, we reached that limit, and for a while, we doubted if we could get the post to its footing
maybe
without
tricky.
bumping our precious stem wall
Really
with
tight.
the SkyTrak's gigantic tires.
Stop. Good. I think that might work.
Stop. More. Stop. Lift it up. Okay. Slowly bring it down. Move it up a little.
Ooh.
Down.
Stop. Okay.
Here we go.
You're in.
Okay, bring it down. Fasten boom. Okay.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Okay.
Stop.
The hydraulics for this old telehandler were a bit jumpy. It was difficult to smoothly raise and lower the boom, so hats off to Eric for his delicate handling of the controls.
Time flows like a river to the sea. All my life I've swam upstream. But when you're here with me, I go where the river takes me. Time flows like a river to the sea. All my life I've swam upstream.
Go forward.
All right, everybody. Congratulations. We have finished all the posts. They're all up. Look at those.
Standing amidst these massive sentinels of wood, we felt a sense of awe, wonder, and gratitude. It felt like we were within an ancient, sacred site. Our wood hinge was in place. 3 years later, while working on this video, I still feel the emotional high from that day.
So, SkyTrak day 1 is complete. Awesome day. So happy we got all these posts up finally. It's starting to look like a house.
On November 18th, 2022, just 10 months after raising our first log, every one of our 38 posts stood tall. The skeleton of the Cob Mahal was complete. Every post we raised was a prayer in wood, a rooted intention. And now, with our upright circle complete, we turn our eyes upward. In our next chapter, A Good Hat 3, Raising the Roof Beams, we'll show you how we connected these mighty posts with an interwoven ring of cedar, cypress, and oak, laying the groundwork for the Cob Mahal's crown. Please subscribe to follow our journey. Chapter 6, coming soon.